Is Bryce Mitchell a genuine contender at bantamweight? Like, I look at the bantamweight rankings, and looking at Bryce Mitchell at the moment, I don't know if he beats some of these guys, man. Don't get me wrong. Bryce Mitchell on his bantamweight debut, he looked great against Sayyad Nurmagomedov. He showed a lot of heart in that fight. And Sayyad Nurmagomedov is no tough task in the division. I mean, the guy is a certified killer. I mean, the ninja choke is no joke. Like, the guy has put on some really great performances in the UFC. And he's always that guy that is just about to make the rankings or just surfacing in and out of the rankings. Like, the guy is no tough joke. And the fact that Bryce Mitchell went out there and put on that performance and got up from those knockdowns, got up from those submission attempts, and went in there and pummeled him on the ground and got the better of him, he gets my respect for that, honestly. But I'm looking at this ranking right now of the bantamweight division, and there's just some guys there I don't see Bryce Mitchell beating. And if this guy's talking about fighting for a title, I just don't see him beating some of these guys. I look at the guys like Vinicius Oliveira. If Bryce Mitchell were to fight Vinicius Oliveira, I think that's going to be a hard task for him. I think Vinicius is really good with his takedown defense, and he's a great scrapper on the feet. The guy's got power. We've seen what he's done to certain fighters like Bernardo Sopal. We saw his fight against Kyler Phillips. He put on a terrific performance. And I think a guy like him is going to work his way up the rankings. And at some point, if Bryce Mitchell's looking to fight up in the rankings, he's probably going to meet Vinicius Oliveira on his way up there. And I think he won't beat him. I look at other guys like Ayman Zahabi. Look, Ayman Zahabi's decent. He's a good striker and all. But Bryce Mitchell, yeah, he could take him to the ground. He could possibly submit him. But we've seen Bryce Mitchell have hard time with strikers. We saw his losses to Gian Silva. We saw his loss to Josh Emmett. We've seen his loss to Ilya Topuria. The guy's kryptonite are elite strikers. And there's a lot of elite strikers in this weight class. If you put Bryce Mitchell against Piotr Yan, I don't see him beating him. I'm just being honest here, guys. And even Umar Nurmagomedov, Bryce Mitchell is good on the ground, but I think Umar's ground game is better. And even if, let's say, he were to get a title shot in the future, if he goes on a run against these contenders and fights Merab smokes him too. Corey Sandhagen beats him. Davidson Figueiredo, maybe he could win. I even think Mario Bautista would beat Bryce Mitchell. So there's a host of names that I look at in this division, and I just don't see Bryce Mitchell being a guy that's going to be up there in the rankings and possibly fight for a title. That's just not in the picture. I can't see it happening. Bryce Mitchell, for all I know, could go on a decent run. The UFC could pit him up against, I don't know, Marcus McGee. I think that's a winnable fight for him, even though Bryce Mitchell struggles that are power punchers. But I see a guy like, I don't know, maybe Henry Cejudo. He's in the decline, but I doubt Henry would want to fight a guy like Bryce Mitchell. What is the necessity for it? Yeah, it would be a funny-ass matchup. Don't get me wrong. Two goofy-ass dudes like Henry Cejudo and Bryce Mitchell going at it. I would be all here for it, but I don't think Henry would want to take a fight like that. Rob Font, I think he could beat Rob Font, but I think there's guys even outside of the rankings that he would lose to. Gian Matsumoto, I think Gian Matsumoto beats Bryce Mitchell. Montel Jackson, that is the 15th ranked in the division. I think Bryce Mitchell would have a hard time with Montel. Montel is a ferocious fighter. He's killed dudes before in the ring. Not literally, just like he just KO'd him drastically, not actual murder. Don't take it the way I said it, but we've seen how he's destroyed people in the past. I don't think Bryce Mitchell beats some of these guys. Maybe he could beat Kyler Phillips. If he caught Marlon Chito Vera on the decline, possibly that's another fight he could win. To me, he's not a guy that's going to fight for the title, because even if he works his way up there in the rankings, let's say Bryce Mitchell goes on a 4 or 5 fight run, makes his way into the top 5, man, I even think he would have a hard time against Song Yadong. I personally think Song Yadong could starch him. I don't see Bryce Mitchell winning these fights. Yeah, he looked heroic. He looked great against Sayyad Nurmagomedov. But Bryce Mitchell, if he wants to fight for a title, there's a lot of things we're going to have to see improvements in. And that's got to be his striking. If his striking is at another level, let's say his technical ability improves, he pushes the pace, he's able to build up more combinations and work his way into a clinch with those said combinations, fine. But there's got to be a lot of tweaks. There's got to be a lot of improvements from Bryce Mitchell in order for me to see him fight for a title. Because the bantamweight division, let's look at for what it is. It's a stacked division. Not to say that featherweight isn't. Featherweight is also a deep division, but I think bantamweight division is just as hard and just as tough as the lightweight division. Obviously, the lightweight division is on another pedestal. It is an insane division. You can even put the welterweight division ahead of the bantamweight division, to be right at the moment right now. But the bantamweight division, in my opinion, is probably the third hardest division in the UFC. There's a lot of killers there. There's a lot of elite fighters in this said weight class. So I don't see Bryce Mitchell winning a belt in the bantamweight division. It is not happening. I don't even think the UFC want that to happen after all the previous controversies in the past with Mr. said Bryce Mitchell. So, look, I don't see him being a champion. Now, could he be a top 5 fighter? I don't even think that's going to happen either. Bryce Mitchell could possibly work his way into the rankings. Top 10, I think that's the most we'll see from Bryce. Top 10, that's it. He's not going to be a top 5 fighter in the rankings in the bantamweight division. If you're a Bryce Mitchell fan, sorry you have to hear this news now, but it is just the truth. But anyways, people, the Fighting Gringo, me fue. Don't forget to subscribe, ladies and gentlemen.